So it's a cold morning and you all came this morning, so we really appreciate that. It's especially cold when you're just coming from India. I just came back. I was by the great fortune of the Lord, I was in Sri Vrindavan Dham for 6 weeks, and it was very beautiful. How many of you have never been to Vrindavan? Okay, then you haven't lived. So Vrindavan is very special for us. Vrindavan is, they say, the playground of God. So Vrindavan is the place where Krishna just has all of his divine pastimes. And because Vrindavan is Krishna's home, that means Vrindavan is everyone's home, because everyone is connected to Krishna in a relationship of love. And so going to Vrindavan, they say, is the journey home. Right now we think so many different places are home. Maybe you think South Norwood is home. Of course, South Norwood Temple is home because this is a recreation of Vrindavan. But wherever we grew up, wherever we're living, wherever we're working, we have to always wake up in the morning and remember we're just in the transit lounge. Just here for some time. Somehow all of us, we're here in this room. We all came from different places. Yeah. Once I was on the street and I stopped someone and said, "Hey, how you doing? Where are you from?" He said, "My mother's womb." Yeah, I understood that point. But where, like before? Who were you? Where were you? Sometimes you have to stop and think, who was I? Where was I? How is it that I ended up in South Norwood? How is it that I ended up here? You see, we all have our own history. When we were at university, we were doing Krishna conscious programs at the university, so we would find different ways of attracting people. So we had one devotee and he was skilled in the art of past life regression. Have you ever done a past life regression? They can put you in a hypnotism, and you have a vision of who you were in your previous life. I'm not suggesting you do this. But we were trying to find ways. So we used to do these programs. Find out who you were in your previous life. This is how we were attracting people. I don't know if we do that now, but we did it at that time, 25 years ago. And I tried 10 times to have a vision of who I was in my brain. Somehow for me it didn't work. But I witnessed many people who had, you may say it's imagination, maybe it was real, I don't know, but many people who had a vision of who they were in their previous life. One girl, I remember, she was crying and she said, "I'm on a boat and I'm in an African body." She was an English girl. She said, "I'm in an African body." I said, "Why?" So the person said, "Why are you crying?" She said, "Because the person is threatening to throw me overboard." So maybe she was a slave child or something like that. You know. And then he connected it to many things in this. And he said, "Are you afraid of water?" She said, "Yeah, I'm afraid of water." So you see, we come into this life with a history. And we're here in this transit lounge. And actually, what we're all really trying to do in the core of our hearts is find happiness. And we've tried in so many ways to try and find happiness. And after some time we realize, I don't think so. Happiness is outside of there, outside in the world, outside doing everything that everyone else is doing. Black Friday turned into Golden Friday yesterday because the devotees distributed 100 books. I think that deserves a Haribol. So we were knocking the doors. Maybe people had spent the day shopping and maybe they were spending the evening watching the football. and but still many books went out because deep within people, people are questioning, isn't it? Like Ashish, he's there. So isn't it? We had so many amazing conversations. We were out together yesterday. We had all these conversations with people, isn't it? This one lady was talking about how her son died 25 years ago in Thailand or somewhere. And many questions you could see in her heart. So the devotees of the Lord are incredible. Because what the devotees of the Lord do, they are like ambassadors of the spiritual world. You see, like they come to the world, they come down to where we are, and they remind us that we're not meant to be here, we're meant to be somewhere else. They are the messengers of God. I say the devotees are like agents of Vamandev. You know the story of Vamandev? Don't know the story? In the 8th canto of the Bhagavatam, Krishna comes in an incarnation called Vamandev, small dwarf boy. And he comes to the king Bali Maharaj. And he says to the king Bali Maharaj, Bali Maharaj looks at him, he's a small young Brahmana. Brahmana means you should give some dhan, some charity. So then he says to Vamandev, what would you like? I can give you anything. I'm a king. I can give you anything. So Vamandev says, Krishna, in the form of a dwarf boy, Brahmin boy, he says, I don't need much. Just give me 3 steps of land. So why 3 steps? Because if you walk 3 steps, then that's enough space in which to lie down. So what do you need really to survive? You just need some place to sleep. That's it. And then otherwise everything is provided by God. So he said, I just want 3 steps of land. So Bali Maharaj said, I'm in charge of so many kingdoms. I have so many things. I can give you anything. Is that all you want? 3 steps of land? And Vamandev said, yeah, that's all I want. It's enough. So Bali Maharaj said, okay, I'll give you 3 steps of land. Now Bali Maharaj's guru was Sukracharya. He understood, no, there's something fishy going on here. It's not what meets the eye. He's going to trick you. Bali Maharaj, he just wants 3 steps of land. What's the problem? And then in that moment, when he agreed to give the charity, then Vamandev expanded. And as he expanded, with the first step, he covered all the lower worlds. With the second step, he covered the rest of the worlds. He covered everything in 2 steps. And Vamandev looked at Bali Maharaj and he said, but you promised 3. Bali Maharaj said, what to do? With 2 steps, you've taken everything. Bali Maharaj said, okay, the 3rd step you can put on my head. And that signified complete surrender. So the devotees of Krishna are like agents of Vamandev. Can you see? They come into your life and they say, you don't have to change your life. I'm not asking you to make major changes to your life. Just add a little bit of Krishna. Just chant 1 round. Just come once a week. Just do something small. Chant and be happy. It's a very simple process. It's not a revolution. But they are agents of Vamandev. Because before you know it, they keep adding so much more, there's nothing left in your life. And they make your whole life into Krishna. But that's very nice, because we need to be tricked. The reality is we need to be tricked, because we're unwilling. You see, everyone in this world is going to be tricked. Either you be tricked by the material energy, or you be tricked by Krishna and his agents. One way or another, you will be tricked. Because It's like when you go out and you see a shop sign, and it says sale, and it says £1,000, the price tag says, and it says £250 off. Then when you buy the thing, you think to yourself, I've saved £250. But actually what you've done is you spent £750. But they trick you. They trick you to think you've actually saved when they've induced you to actually spend. So everyone is being tricked in the world. It's the world of the cheaters and the cheated. So then Krishna's devotees, they come and they trick us. One time Srila Prabhupada, he had one disciple, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, and he said to Tamal Krishna Maharaj, I want you to go to India and preach. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, Srila Prabhupada, I'll go anywhere in the world. You tell me to go, but not India. So Prabhupada said, why? He said, because Indians are too tricky. So he says, like Indians, they're too tricky. They're never straightforward. So Srila Prabhupada said, but I am an Indian. He said, no, not you, Prabhupada. I mean the others, the other Indians. And then Prabhupada smiled at me and he said, no, I am also tricky. Because I tricked you into becoming Krishna conscious. So this movement, the devotees in this movement, the process in this movement, actually is tricking us because we're unwilling at the moment. We're very miserly, isn't it? We're very miserly. We don't want to just give ourselves. In Gujarati they say kanjus. Basically, you have so much you can give, but you don't want to give. We don't want to give our time. We don't want to give our energy. Okay, little bit I'll give, but I need to hold back also for myself. So then gradually, through this whole process of Krishna consciousness, we become tricked. And it's very beautiful because it connects us to what we're really looking for. The top 4 ways in which people relax in this world. Number 1, they take intoxication. Number 2, go on holiday. Number 3, go to sleep. And number 4, watch a movie. Okay, these are the top 4 ways in which people relax. They go to sleep, take intoxication, watch a movie, or go on holiday. Can you see what the common thing between each one of those things is? Yeah, sorry?
Tricking the mind.
Tricking the mind? Yeah? What else?
Escaping.
It's an escape. It's an escape. When you take intoxication, you forget about your life. When you go on holiday, you forget about your life. When you watch a movie, you forget about your life. When you go to sleep, you forget about your life. Basically, what people are trying to do when they relax is they're trying to forget their life. Why would you want to forget your life? It means your life is not bringing you a satisfaction of the heart. And that's natural. Because this life in the material world is not our life. Srila Prabhupada said it's like a fish out of water. Doesn't matter what you give the fish. If you take it out of water, it doesn't matter what you give the fish. It's never going to bring you satisfaction. So, people try to escape. But when you watch a movie, at one point the movie ends. When you go on holiday, at one point the holiday has to end. You can't be on an eternal holiday. You have to come back. When you go to sleep, how many hours you can sleep for? When I was at uni, I used to sleep for 12 hours. But then after, how much more can you sleep? You have to wake up. And when you take intoxication, how long it lasts?
1 sec.
Wow. Krishna is really speaking to us today. nothing, no eternal escape. There's no escape. But Krishna says, Natad bhashayate shuryo na shashanko na pavaka yadgatva na nivartante tathama paramam mama. Krishna says there's a place. Natad bhashayate shuryo. In that place you don't even need a sun. You don't need a moon. You don't need electricity. You don't need the national grid. There's an abode, and that abode is self-illuminated. And Krishna says is full of happiness, is full of bliss. And what Krishna says, Yadgatva, once you've gone to that place, na nivartante, you don't have to come back here. When you go to sleep, you have to come back. When you take intoxication, you have to come back. But Krishna says when you reach that place, you don't have to come back, because that's your eternal home. That is Vrindavan. So, here we are, we're in December, and we make this big push. Like, everyone should go out and distribute books. I tell you, there were two things in my life when I joined the Hare Krishna movement. I said, I like these people, I like this process, I like the prasadam, but I'm not going out on Harinam and I'm not going out on book distribution. My personality was, in my life, I never wanted to stick out. But when I was about 14 years old, I grew like this. Over 6, all my friends are like, sure, and I'm like, I don't want to stick out. But then immediately. And then later on I grew up, I thought, okay, I'm a little taller than everyone else, but let me just make sure I don't stick out, I just be in the crowd. And then you decide to become a Hare Krishna. And then you really stick out, because like all your habits are different. Well, your lifestyle is different. And then later on I decided to become a brahmachari. And then you walk around in bright orange clothes. I mean, you kind of start sticking out, you know. It's like, I'm like, this was never my plan. I was always trying to be in the crowd. Why do I keep sticking out? And then I became a brahmachari, and they said, everyone has to go out on Harinam and book distribution. I mean, if you don't want to stick out, I mean, there's not many more activities which make you stick out like that. I mean, Harinam means you go right into the middle of the town and basically make a spectacle of yourself. Right? So every week they would go out on Harinam. It was compulsory when you joined the temple. And every week I used to make up an excuse. No, there's no one to wash the pots. I'll stay back. I'll make the sacrifice. You know? So every week I used to make a different excuse. So I dodge it every week. And I'm from Wembley. So what happened, it was coming up to Diwali, and the devotees said, there's a big, Diwali parade in Wembley. They do it along the Ealing Road. And I was like, I definitely got to dodge that one. That's like my hometown. And then they said, no, everyone has to go out on this. The whole of the Soho is coming, the Manna's coming, everyone's coming, and all the devotees must go out. So then I thought, okay, this one, it doesn't look like I can get out of it. But the saving grace is that hundreds of devotees are going to be there. So basically you just wear a long coat, wear a big hat, and just be right in the middle of the crowd. It will pass. 1 hour, boom, finished. So finally I convinced myself, okay, I have to do this, I have to go out and Harinam. But it's okay. We'll work it out. So somehow the minibus left, all the coaches and the minibus left. And then I was trying to get there a little later, so I left after them. So I thought, by the time I get there, everyone will be there. There'll be a crowd, and then I'll just slip into the crowd. No one will see me. I got to Ealing Road, it was me and one other devotee. I saw the float, so I was like, okay, that's where everyone is. And I got there was a big crowd, but none of them were devotees. Because from afar I thought, oh yeah, there's a big crowd there, everyone's reached. And then when I got there, there's no devotees. They're all like stewards and onlookers. And so I said to him, where's all the devotees? He said, no, the coach got stuck in a traffic jam. And they're arriving, they're coming, but they're not quite here yet. So I thought, oh my God, Krishna is really... And then an announcement came, and the procession is starting, and the Hare Krishnas will lead the procession. And I'm like, there's no Hare Krishnas here, there ain't no Hare Krishnas here. And then one of the stewards, he says, no, you guys, you begin. And then basically he just put a mridanga around me. And he said, there's no one here, but the show must go on, you have to lead. And I'm like, I don't want to stick out. So can you imagine the position Krishna put me in on Diwali with hundreds of people on either side of the street? They have barricades and there's a whole crowd, and then there's a float going down, and somehow or other I'm right there in the middle leading the kirtan, and everyone is looking at me. And I thought, Krishna, you really have a sense of humor. I had to surrender. So, Harinam, book distribution, I never wanted to do it actually. I thought, I don't want to, I'm just let people get on with their life, I'll get on with my life. But shall I tell you one thing? When I started going out on book distribution, on Harinam, even though I didn't want to, later on I realized this is the most amazing thing in the world. Sometimes we think we have to go to the spiritual world to participate in Krishna's pastimes. Actually, that's wrong. Krishna's pastimes are going on here. Krishna's pastimes are going on in this world, because Krishna came to this world as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna told all of his followers, Prati ghare ghare giya magiye bhiksha, bolo Krishna, bhaja Krishna, koro Krishna shiksha. Go to every home, go to every person, and in the spirit of love, give them information, give them inspiration, give them instructions in a beautiful mood of how to actually find happiness. And when you do that, when you go out, you make that effort, you come out of the comfort zone, you do something that's a little alien for you, and you try to reach out and help people in compassion, amazing things happen. Amazing miracles, mystical, magical, moving moments in life. My strongest experiences of Krishna's presence have been while going out, trying in some small way to connect people to the spiritual happiness. So you can be in Krishna's pastimes in the here and now. And that is book distribution. So it feels sometimes to some of us a little alien because we're shy, because we're a little, we don't want to be like a disturbance to other people. We don't want to stick out, and then it's a little uncomfortable. But actually people are waiting. People are waiting to meet a book distributor. People are waiting to receive a spiritual message. And all we have to do is go out. And if we go out, you'll begin to meet people. You'll begin to realize that actually Krishna's arranging everything and I just have to be the instrument. And amazing, incredible things will happen. You just have to try. I often tell this story of how one morning I was getting ready to go out on book distribution, and on my phone I got 20 missed calls from a certain number, but it was just a number, it wasn't a name, so it wasn't in my phone book. So I thought, who called you 20 times? That must be urgent, you know. So then I called back that number, but no one answered. But I thought, someone to call you 20 times must be important. So then what I did is I saved that number in my phone book, you know, like when you go in your phone book, and I saved it as A. It's still there actually. See that? A. So I saved that number in my phone book as A, and I thought, let me ring back later, because if they rang me 20 times, it must be important. 1 year went past, and I never called that number again. And then what happened, 1 year later, I was getting ready to go out on book distribution again. You know, sometimes you move your phone and da-da-da, and by accident it started ringing. So I looked at my phone and it said, A, ringing. I thought, oh my God, that was from 1 year ago. And then I listened and it was ringing. So I thought to myself, that was 1 year ago, let me just put that phone down. So I just cancelled the call. That day, that day I went out on book distribution and I met someone in the middle of the day and they were so interested. So they took all the books and then he walked away, and then he came back after 3 minutes and he said, you know, it's funny that I should meet you today, because this morning a Hare Krishna called me. So I said, who was it? Maybe I know who that is. He said, I don't remember the name. And then he pulled out his phone and he went through his phone book and he said, Sutapa. You know who that is? And I'm like about to faint. I'm like, that's me. He says, what do you mean that's you? I said, no, that's me. And I showed him my ID card. He said, but how did you call me? And then I said to him, and then I remembered, oh, that number I called in the morning. So I got my phone out. I went to A. I said, 078, is this your number? He said, how did you get my number? I said, how did you get my number? And what had basically happened is that 1 year ago, he was looking for spiritual books. He knew someone who knew me. So this person said to him, here's this monk's number. If you call him, he can give you spiritual books. So he called me 20 times. But we never connected. 1 year later, I accidentally call his number, and then I go to Banbury, a town I've never been to before, and in the midst of thousands of people, I meet that very person that I called that morning. Chance, right? How can it be chance? These are all Krishna's pastimes. These are all Krishna's arrangements. This is all Krishna's plan. So we have an opportunity to be part of that magic. Sometimes people say, I don't know, when I chant, I don't feel Krishna. When I read, I don't feel Krishna. I come in front of the deities, I don't really see Krishna. Is Krishna really real? I don't know if Krishna, it sounds nice, but I never experienced Krishna. Go out and preach. Then you'll have no shadow of a doubt that Krishna exists. Because things happen and you realize Krishna is up to something. So it's the greatest opportunity to be part of Krishna's pastimes. When we go out and share in a spirit of love, a few things happen. The first thing that happens is we are able to help many people. You know how much suffering there is out there? They say the world is smiling faces, crying hearts. Once I was on book distribution, 3 days in a row, I met 3 different individuals who were all going to commit suicide that very day. And one of them even showed me the rope that he was going to use to hang himself. There's so much suffering out there, there's so much difficulty. You know, like when we used to go on the marathon, then we would be like, the devotees would be like the first people on the street and the last ones to leave. So sometimes we'd get on the street at 8 o'clock in the morning before all the shoppers, and then distribute all day, and you'd stay right till no one was left. Right, so about 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, shops close. By 9 o'clock, no one's there, and then the devotees would go. But you know, there's a time on the street about 9 o'clock, 8:45, 9 o'clock, when all the shoppers leave. A transition happens in the town. Because what happens is all the shoppers leave. And then at that moment, all the homeless people come in. And then they all take a shop, which is where they're going to sleep for the night. And then you begin to see the whole street in different reality. Throughout the whole day you saw the street, people enjoying, people having fun, people buying, people laughing. And then in the night you see the reality. This is where people live. This is where people, this is how they survive. This is their home for the night. And then you think, why should anyone have to live like that? Can you imagine what it's like? One night, try it, one night to sleep in the cold. And then realize, for some people, this is their life. And then you think, can we just ignore that? Can we just ignore that? Can we just say like, well, okay, my life's okay, so let it be. Can we? Imagine once this happened to a devotee, he told me. They were sitting in a restaurant. You can imagine, they were sitting in a window by the restaurant. Anyway, then at one point they ordered and their meal came. So it was a nice restaurant, warm, then the meal came. And then at the moment the meal came, a homeless person came to the window and was just looking at them. This is a thought experiment. So now what are you going to do? Option number A, just carry on having your meal. But can you really comfortably have the meal? Like this person, look, it's a little uncomfortable, isn't it? Option number B is you move seat and you go back into the restaurant so that you don't have to see that person. And option number C is you go out and you do something to help that person. Which one would you do? Option A sounds difficult. It would be difficult to just ignore it, isn't it? Now we may say, but how many people can you help like that? There's so much suffering out there. How are we going to just feed every single homeless? But you could, if someone has come, you can help them. So you can check it on YouTube. There's something called a freezing child experiment. It's like a social experiment. You can check it on YouTube. Freezing child experiment. And basically what they do is that in New York City, in like -10, they put this child on the side of the street who's basically freezing. And then they video it. And it's like for 1 hour, people just walk straight past this child and don't do anything. And the most amazing thing is, when I looked at it, I thought, you know what? If I walked past, would I stop? When you see it on a video that no one's stopping, in your mind you think, this is crazy, no one's stopping? But then when you put yourself in their shoes, you think, would I stop? Or have I just become so oblivious? Have I become so apathetic? Have I become so desensitized to the suffering of others that I don't feel I need to do anything? So, bhakti, to have bhakti for Krishna means we have to have a soft heart. If we don't have a soft heart, it's going to be very difficult to awaken love for Krishna. And if we have a hard heart towards other people, if we're impersonal towards other people, it's going to be very difficult to have a soft heart. And therefore when we go out and we help others, then our hearts become very soft. Many people become very much benefited, and Krishna becomes active and pleased. And that's the great opportunity that lies before each one of us. December is the time when Krishna consciousness can become very active. Throughout the year we do so many beautiful things, we read, we chant, we go on retreats, we have wonderful events. But in December we take all of that and we go out and we help people and we say like, make your life better. It's the best job in the world, to make people's lives happier, to make people's lives more wholesome, to make people's lives free of suffering. What can be a better gift to others than that? And so we have something amazing, and therefore we're encouraging all the devotees to go out together and do it. And it can be done. Yesterday we haven't been out, probably you haven't been out door to door for a long time, right?
No,
yeah, we went for an hour, but when was the last time you went on door to door? Last year. So we just went out after 1 year. Everyone was like, like not in the flow of it. We had not been for 1 year, but we just met up and we just said, let's try it. And we all went out for 1 hour, and in 1 hour between us we distributed 100 books, and people gave £200 in donations. People were happy, there was no negativity. All those 100 books are out there, someone will read them. When you stop to think about it, you think like, could there be a better way to spend your Friday night than just to do that? Imagine that, it's amazing. You've changed lives. And if you continue doing that, how much Krishna's blessings will descend. So don't think it's too hard, don't think it's too it's unattainable. Everyone can do it, and you just have to find your own way. And it will be magical. You'll have so many stories to tell, I guarantee you. You'll be sitting here for hours sharing with each other your stories, because this book distribution is Krishna's pastimes in this world. You see, there's only one service. Did you know there's only one service that you can do in this world that you can't do in the spiritual world? There's only one service. Every other service you can do in the spiritual world, but there's one thing you can't do in the spiritual world. That is share Krishna consciousness. Because everyone in the spiritual world, they're already Krishna conscious, You can't really do that service in the spiritual world. It's the unique service, the one service that you can only do while you're here. And you change someone's life. You change someone's life. 10 years down the line you'll meet people and they'll come to you and they'll say, thank you. Thank you for making the effort and coming out and giving me a book, because it changed my life. Even today, book distributors, people come up to them and say, you changed my life. And they're like, I've never met you before. They're like, no, but I remember you. 10 years ago, you gave me a book. So yeah, be part of it, be part of the magic. And see Krishna right in front of you. Hare Krishna. I think we wanted to do some brainstorming today and have some ideas, but before we do that, I don't know if anyone has any questions, any comments, any realizations, or anything you'd like to ask based on just what we've discussed this morning. Does anyone have any question? Yes, ma'am.
I think 2 years ago, maybe before COVID, you came and took our us out, including our children, and you told us simple things that we can start our opening statements. Maybe if you can, I freeze when you have the recording? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, those lines are there. And today we'll go out and, I don't mind, some of us here have done book distribution for some time, so we can all stand together and you can kind of see. There's always a way, there's always a line. In the beginning, just start with standard lines that you say. It might feel a little bit robotic, but in the beginning, just do that to get your confidence up. And then later on, you can start being very spontaneous, very, very real with people. But you just need to build up your confidence, your experience. Sometimes you look at people and you think like, oh my God, how am I going to speak to this person? Like, they look serious, they look like totally different to me, But if you go in a good mood, if you go in a happy mood, if you go in a compassionate mood, people actually are ready to speak. They're happy to speak. Like yesterday we were going on houses, Ashish, Prabhu and myself, and we reflected that actually so many people on the doors just wanted to speak to someone. It's like people were like, we gotta get to the next house, They're like, no, they keep talking, because people want to speak. People want to meet a genuine person. So don't feel like you're being a nuisance. Sometimes you feel like, I don't want to be a nuisance. Like I'm just stopping all these people. But you're not being a nuisance, because a certain percentage of people want to actually speak to someone and have a genuine conversation about something deeper than just the normal material things. And the other percentage of people that don't want to be stopped, later on they'll appreciate that you stopped them. We never wanted to go to school, but our parents told us, because they knew in the future you'll thank me. So there are so many things of course we're not just going to be intrusive into people's lives and just be like, stop, I'm doing this for your good, just listen to me. Like, okay, we have some culture, how we do it, in a nice way. But, Harisari Prabhu, he was in India. In India it's like crowd control, very difficult. So Indians, it's like. So Prabhupada, he was speaking to Prabhupada about crowd control in India, and Prabhupada said, you have to push them. You have to push. So he said, no, I can't. Like in the Western way, you don't push people, like private space, you have to be respectful. So Prabhupada said, no, in India, when you're controlling crowds, you have to push them. You just push. And then Prabhupada said, but the formula is, the more you smile, the more you can push. So if you go in a happy spirit, if you go in a jolly mood, you can go into people's lives a bit without them feeling like, whoa, this is too much, So everyone is preaching. You see, sometimes we think, oh, we're going out and now we're preaching. Everyone's preaching. In the shop windows, there's all these adverts. What is it? It's preaching. In the department stores, there's all these things that you have to listen to. Adverts. What is it? That's preaching. When you walk, there's all these, adverts that you have to watch in between programs. What's that? That's preaching. Everyone's preaching. Once I was in university and I was putting up posters for an event, and one person came up to me and he said, why are you preaching? If you believe it, it's okay, but why do you have to preach it to others? And then I said to him, why are you preaching to me that I shouldn't preach? That's also preaching. I said, you're also preaching. Why are you preaching to me? Let me do what I want to do. So everyone is preaching. Everyone is giving an idea. But we have ideas that are going to help people to actually find happiness. Why would we not share it? Imagine you have the cure to cancer. But you don't give it. And people are dying right in front of you. And you're just like, well, yeah, I don't want to. I'm a bit tired, In the future, I'll help them out. No, it's serious. Samsara dava nanalita loka. This world is like a forest fire. It's on fire. And once we were on book distribution, and halfway through the day, we decided to go back to the car park, to take some snacks. Turn the engine on, put the heat on, just get a recharge. Anyway, you know what it's like when devotees sit down somewhere, they fall asleep, Forget about sitting down, I've even seen devotees fall asleep while standing up. Devotees can sleep anywhere, I've seen it. Anyway, we fell asleep, we were in the car. And then the amazing thing is, as we were both sleeping, it was me and my Sankirtan partner, there's this knock on the window. We're like, what? Just totally out of it. You feel like you slept for 10 hours or something. And then this person, and it was just some person. He ran down the street and he said, what are you guys doing? Get out there, you got important work to do. I was like, who is this? It's a devotee? So it wasn't even a devotee. It wasn't even a devotee. It was just someone we had met on the street and we had given a book to. And he said, what are you guys doing here? You should be out there. You got important work to do. And it was interesting. It was like even these people realized this is important stuff. It's serious business. So once I was going out on Southampton, I went onto the street and there was a busker. When you do book distribution for a long time, it's like everyone has their spot on the street in every town. So you remember the same people because you meet them all the time. The main people are those selling big issue, the buskers, the charity workers. You have to compete with all these people. Everyone has their spot. Anyway, there was this, I came onto the street, this busker was there. So I would always distribute right next to him. So we had been meeting each other for 15 years or something. Anyway, there was a break of 1 year and then I got onto the street and then I met him. So it was after a year. So he said, oh, you're back. I said, yeah. He said, you guys, same old books, same old lines, same old business. He looked at me and said, and then I looked at him and I said, and you, same old instrument, same old songs, same old spot, doing the same old thing. And he said, yeah, you're right, actually. And then I realized, you got to be committed to something. Everyone in this world is committed to something. So this guy, for 20 years, 30 years, he just comes out on the street and just sings the same songs every day. Some people go to work and they just do the same job every single day. Everyone in this world has to be committed to something. So why not become committed to something that's actually going to change people's lives? That's a great opportunity. So anyway, yeah. So yes, Mataji, we'll go out and you can, you'll pick it up. Yes. Any other questions or anything else anyone wants to ask? Or yes.
Thank you, Maharaj. Pre-COVID, I used to carry some prasad whole fruits in my bag because on the way to work or back, we always come across some homeless people.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes I used to see I'm hungry and all kinds of signs you can see. So I used to try to give it to some who can take it. And also I had the card of Food for Life of Soho. So I used to give them that card. So once, actually a few times, I gave them a fruit and he threw it back. It was like that. So one or two people actually gladly took it. And then somebody was polite to say, no, I don't want, I just need cash. And then just the other day, this time I didn't have fruits in my bag. So myself and my colleague were walking past a very old person, and I was seeing him taking stuff out of the bin and trying to look for some food. So I went past, like you said, I just went past what was going on. Then I looked back and I felt really bad. I came back. I said, do you want some food? So he stopped and then he looked at me for like a few seconds and then he used all those F words and so, sometimes...
Yeah, our duty is only to try. You see, going on the street is also like the school of life. We learn so much when we go out on Sankirtan that you don't even learn in school. You have to become humble on the street. See, that's one of the reasons I go out. Nowadays I walk around, with one of these sticks. And you go in and so much respect. But when you're on the street, people don't know, oh, here's a Maharaj. You're just a normal person. And then people just treat you as a normal, and then you realize, actually I'm just a normal person. Who am I anyway? Am I such a big person? Am I so important? You learn humility. It's very grounding. You learn to be more tolerant than a tree. You learn to take the insults. We used to stop people. Oh yeah, sir, have you got a moment? I'm a traveling monk. Yeah, just keep on traveling. All these kind of things people say. So it's good. It's good for us sometimes to also go through that. And we realize actually, we develop some humility. We learn not to react. We learn not to retaliate. And but our duty is to try. There was a story of a Brahmana who used to come into the river every day to take his midday bath. And one day when the Brahmana came into the river, then he saw a scorpion that was drowning. So what the Brahmana did is he said, the scorpion's drowning, let me try and pick up the scorpion from drowning. And as soon as he picked up the scorpion from drowning, the scorpion bit him and he had to let the scorpion go. Then as he let the scorpion go, the scorpion went back into the river and started drowning again. So the Brahmana went again to pick the scorpion, and again the scorpion bit him. He had to let the scorpion go. And then again, as the scorpion fell, it was drowning again. And then the Brahmana came again, and he picked. And as he was going again, someone said, "Why do you keep picking it up? It keeps biting you." And then the Brahmana said, "It's the nature of the scorpion to bite. But it's become my nature to serve. And therefore, just as the scorpion, no matter what, even if someone's trying to help it, can't stop itself from biting because it's become its nature, my nature is to serve, and therefore, even though people may be ungrateful, unreceptive, not reciprocating, still I must serve." That is Vaishnava. Vaishnava means someone whose nature it has become to serve, even when people are inimical. So who are we? Even Srila Prabhupada said, in Mayapur I just faced opposition from my god brothers. In Vrindavan, I faced opposition from all the caste Goswamis. In Bombay, I faced opposition from the government. And in America, I faced opposition from the deprogrammers. Everywhere I travel, there's opposition. But I still keep giving. So, yes, when we go out on the street, it's not that everyone will just be like, wow, you came, you're doing the most amazing. There may also be a few other people who have different opinions, you know. That's okay, we are humble. And we say, you know, everyone, each to his own. Some thoughts. But thank you for your spirit of not turning a blind eye to other people's suffering. The basic problem in the world today is that everyone has become expert at turning a blind eye to the suffering of others. The lowest level is apathy. This is the lowest. If your apathy means you're apathetic, you don't even think about other people's suffering. Higher than apathy is sympathy. You feel bad, but you feel bad from a distance. Oh, that person is suffering, I feel so bad for them. But higher than sympathy is empathy. I feel so bad about that person, so uncomfortable that I feel I should do something to help them. Therefore Shastra says Vaishnava is para, dukkha, dukhi. They're not apathetic. They're not even just sympathetic, but they're so empathetic that they feel another person's suffering to be just like their own suffering. If tomorrow you got a cut on your hand, you wouldn't just be like, okay, we'll deal with that later. No, it's a cut on your hand. You'll deal with it now because it's on your hand. But Vaishnava, when they see other people suffering, they feel like that. Just as you wouldn't delay to mend your own suffering, you can't delay to mend the suffering of others. This is real spiritual life. How can we be Krishna conscious if we're not sensitive to others in this world? So thank you for your spirit. And this is what the world needs, more people like that, who will actually try to help others. What makes us Krishna conscious? Is it just that we chant many rounds a day? Is it just that we wake up really early in the morning? Is it just that we know many shlokas and we've passed all our exams? Or we've got the names and we've taken the initiations? If you do all of those things, but you don't genuinely feel compassion for other people, then can we really say we're Vaishnava? Maybe not. So, yes, you're showing a great example. Thank you. No, honestly, it's nice. Yes,
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Please accept my humble
obeisance to you.
Thank you very much for so many nice messages. In fact, it's right when you say just add Krishna, and I feel like yes, it changed completely. You feel like it's just adding words. Like,
you've been framed.
well, my question is like when we give the books in different homes or even on the street. Yes, our intention is that they use these books in the right way, right spirit, and we don't try to force also, but sometimes it's like in between, because many times people say, oh, I don't want books, oh no. You say, no, please try to. This is nice books about something, we explain a little bit and we try to read the books. If they are not using these books in the right spirit, in the right way, or misusing maybe different, is that karma also like coming to us and then we are also part of that chain?
Srila Prabhupada said the devotee is willing to take the risk. Tomorrow you may distribute a book and someone may walk down the street and throw it in the bin. That's aparad. The Grantha, Krishna, has gone in the bin. That's not good. But the devotee is so compassionate that the devotee feels, let me give them a chance. And because the devotee has so much compassion, even if there is some karmic consequence of them being very compassionate and giving people a chance and then people misusing it, Krishna says, Yoga Kshemam Vahami I will carry what you lack, I will preserve what you have, I will take care of you. Ma Sucha, don't fear. So we should be confident that Krishna will protect, even if sometimes there is something like that. As long as we do it in the right way. We should distribute the books in the right way. We should distribute the books in the right spirit. And if we do everything from our side to do the service nicely, and someone still does something like that, then Krishna will help. But we just have to make sure that we don't distribute books or try to preach in such a way that it will aggravate people to do that. Like if you push someone so much that they feel all forced to take the book, and then later on they feel so annoyed by that they just think, forget it, just throw this away. Then that's our fault. So therefore you have to know the art of how to encourage someone, inspire someone without coming across as being pushy or preachy or like that. That's a great art. Everyone we must leave with a good impression. The measure is, after you meet someone, you have to ask yourself, if this person saw me again, would they be inspired to come over to me and talk to me? And if the answer is no, it doesn't matter if you've given them a book or taken a donation, you might have actually done a disservice, isn't it? So the measure should always be, when this person leaves, would they feel inspired to speak to me again, to see me again? Or if next time they saw me on the street, would they cross the street to think, oh my God, he's that guy again, he's going to ask me for money, or that's not good. So always leave everyone with a good impression. Yeah. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you, Maharaj.
Any other questions? Any other things? Yes, ma'am.
The way you said that, sorry Maharaj,
No problem. Yeah.
already we see in our spot in Private Town Center, when people go, they cross and go the other way so that they don't have to meet the book table. And it happens so many times. We see them take a different trajectory.
Some people will do that no matter. We have to just make sure, like, we're out there to do a job and we try to do the service in the best way we can. So we just have to make sure there's nothing that we're doing which is aggravating it. But there will always be a certain percentage of people who will just be like, like some people just go past the Harinam and are just like, like, they don't want to hear it, And then people say, oh, you're committing noise pollution and you're forcing people. But then what about all the people that smoke on the street and force everyone else to smoke? That's okay. We don't worry about that. When are you going to campaign against that? What about all the other adverts on the street that you have to hear, that you have no choice over? You don't have a problem with that. So everyone is out there. The high street is like a selling place for everything. So we go in there. Yeah, we're also there. We have something also. We have a message for the people. So Prahlad Maharaj says, Prayena deva munayo svavimukti kama maunam charanti vijanena parartha nishta Netan vihaya kripanan vimumuksha eko nanyantadasya saranam brahmatonupasye. He said there are some yogis, monam charanti vijane. They go alone to the heights of the Himalayan mountains and they engage in meditation, vimumuksha, eko, to liberate themselves. But Prahlad says, I don't want to just go to the mountain, be silent, and liberate myself. I want to go into the cities. I want to go into where all the people are who are suffering because of lack of spiritual knowledge, and I want to help them. So chaitato vimukha chaitasa indriyartha. I have no problem myself. I'm happy. But my only issue is that I can't bear to see other people suffering. Therefore I have to go to them and do something. So this is why we don't go to the street to take anything from anyone. See, we think, oh, I'm taking their money, I'm taking their time. No, you're giving. You see, Prabhupada was in a press conference and then an Indian reporter, this was in America, and an Indian reporter put his hand up and he said, Swamiji, why have you come to America? As if it's his country, he's also an Indian. Yes, Swamiji, why have you come to America? So Prabhupada looked at him and said, why have you come to America? So he said, for better opportunities. Prabhupada said, me too. And then Prabhupada looked at him and he said, but you came for better opportunities to take money, to take comfort, to take position, to take influence. You want to take from America. But I came to give knowledge, to give inspiration, to give hope, to give Krishna consciousness. So when we're on the street, we're not there to take anything from anyone. So I'm fine. I have no worries for myself. I could be at home chanting my rounds, I'm happy. I'm out here because I'm here to give. We live to give. Without giving, there's no life. You see, breathing means you inhale, but then you exhale. And then you inhale again, and then you have to exhale. If you just kept inhaling, we don't come to the Krishna consciousness movement just to inhale more prasadam. More for me. No, we need all of that. But then you must give. Then it becomes dynamic. Giving, receiving. Giving, receiving. Like this. This is the rhythm of life. This is how Krishna consciousness becomes dynamic. So in a community where this breathing is going on, then the community is alive. Otherwise, we're just inhaling. There's nothing. So yeah, we have to make sure, like when we're doing a kirtan, it should not be like the sound system is like on, 10 plus and so loud that it's like, we have to let the whole street know we're here, we shouldn't be like intrusive into people's lives, Like in India, the sound systems are so loud, you see? It's so loud, never had any sound system. Some, magical technology. So I think maybe we should not bring a sound system like that onto like Croydon High Street. It might be a little like, people might think that, oh, these guys are a little bit. No, we go into Croydon, we're not hiding, we're there, but we do it in a nice way, with nice instruments, nice sound system, not like overbearing, but we're there. And any reasonable people will walk past and say, these are nice people. And there will always be a percentage of people who say, this is not what to do. So as long as when we stop someone, we should just not be like, like when they're walking, just like stop right in front of them so that, like a security guard, no, I am here with a message from God, no, we don't want to be like that, but yeah, stop them in a nice way. Hey, how you doing? Have you got a moment? I know you're busy, just a few moments. Give it a try. In a nice way. People will like it. Devotees are different. We used to have this one Italian book distributor. He was very charming, Once he gave a book to someone, he said, so you're going to give a donation. Just give a donation. So this person gave £10. He said, yes, we do a very good work. If you give another donation, I'll show you a magic trick. He says, I'll show you a magic trick if you give another donation. I'm looking at him. Italians can say anything. There's a certain charm, So he went into his pocket. Whatever lucky is that he pulled it out like another £15. He gave another £15. He said, oh, thank you for your donation. And then this Italian distributor started walking up. He said, oh, whoa. You said you're going to show me a magic trick. He said, look in your pocket. Everything has disappeared. I mean, if we were trying to do that, he might get a punch in the face. Somehow he got away with it. That was impressive, So, but, you have to know what you can do. We may not do such a thing, but the person was he started laughing. He was happy. He was ready to even give more money. It was amazing. So, yeah, it's amazing. Sankirtan is the school of life. You learn everything. What you don't learn in school, you learn on book distribution. I felt like that. For me, it was the school of life. I had the fortune for many years, something nearly 12, 13, 14 years, traveling up and down the country. We had this thing. We want to visit every single town in this country and do one full day of book distribution. So we got a list. There was about 560 towns in the UK, and we said it's our mission that in this life we should do one full day of book distribution in every single town. So we're traveling up and down the country in a motorhome, and then we got to about 380. So 380 towns and around the country, different places. We did a full day of book distribution. And it was nice, it was amazing. You'd meet people and just waiting to meet. Amazing experience, best times. So we can all be part of it. It's a great opportunity.